AASL Standard 3 focuses on information and knowledge. The four elements are 3.1 efficient and ethical information seeking behavior, 3.2 access to information, 3.3 information technology, and 3.4 research and knowledge creation. Now, reflecting back on this one, it was a lot harder to find some pictures for these things because a lot of it goes with the actual teaching of things and making sure that you're kind of working with students through these steps. I did find a couple examples for each of the elements. So if we look at 3.1, there was a culture fair that was done with multiple teachers in the building. Newgard was the social studies teacher and Henry was the facts teacher. What students did is they chose a culture of their interest and they researched it. And so one of my jobs as the librarian was to help students find information and figure out how to get to it, how to interpret it, and what the best use of that information was. So making sure that they realize you don't take something word for word and you're not going to want all of the facts that you find to go into your final presentation. Students eventually wrote a paper and also designed a bulletin board or a poster board off of their cultures and shared their information both with others in the school, and we invited the community in to check that out as well. Now, that was at the high school level. I also did something very similar at the elementary level with second through fifth grade. They did an animal research project. So, obviously, having kids find information at this level looked a lot different than at the high school level. High school, you show them a couple of databases, you talk about it very quickly, and for the most part, students are pretty easily able to independently research and go out and find information and discern whether or not it's appropriate for their topic. Now, when you're with elementary students, you really have to narrow the field for them and find those resources for the students. Because with animal research, if somebody was looking for penguins, for example, there are thousands upon thousands, if not millions, of websites about penguins, and not all of them are even about penguins. So, what I had to do for those students was make sure that we had websites that were there for them, that were going to be at their age and would be at their reading level so that they'd be able to complete the project. Now, if we look at 3.2 access to information, one thing that I really focused on a lot was copyright and plagiarism completely across the board. It didn't matter if it was like first grade or if it was 12th grade. That's an issue and something that we struggle with really completely across the board. One thing that we did is we had the elementary kids take pictures and then they put their own copyright on that so that they were kind of able to see how it would affect them. And it wasn't just this idea that was kind of floating up in the air and they couldn't make a personal connection to. Because the more we can get students to connect to what we're teaching, obviously the more likely they are to find value in it and also remember it. Another thing that we talked a lot about was online safety. Nowadays, with most of our students, at least in the schools that I've been fortunate enough to be in, being one to one, making sure that they realize everything you put online can live there for forever, and what information is okay to share and what information is not okay to share. And there are a lot of great websites and sources, and we even found a cool game that the elementary students were able to do where they practiced, and there was somebody who was quote unquote talking to them and asking them for information, and they had to select, yes, I would share this, or no, I would not share this. So that was a great way to see what they had taken out of the presentation, out of the lesson that I had taught them. When we look at 3.3 information technology, a lot of this is about creating, modeling, analyzing. One of the big things that I did over my time at Valley City State University was creating a virtual learning commons, which is kind of a fancy way of saying a really interactive website for a library. Choosing what resources I thought were going to be most valuable to my students. I focused on high school, and there were things for academics, for the arts, for games, and just kind of making a safe place for students where everything had been netted by me and kind of researched and made sure that it was someplace safe and something that students could access. And then the last one, 3.4, research and knowledge creation. I talked a little bit about this in my field experience with the animal research projects, but it also really ties well into the action research project that I did myself because I had to create a project and see if it was successful or not. So, what I focused on, as you were able to see in the rest of my portfolio, was whether or not targeted library programming would boost circulation numbers. And that was like a really fun project for me because it tied in all these things that I was passionate about, and we were able to get tangible numbers. So it wasn't just, oh, I have a feeling that it's going to do this. We were able to see concrete numbers that, yes, when we had targeted programming in those specific areas or those specific genres, circulation numbers for that area increased.